Welcome to part one of Range in Home. Let's get started. Welcome to the Armed Citizen channel, where you and I will discuss the finer and mostly undiscussed points of being an armed citizen. If you find my content valuable to you, please like, share, and subscribe, and maybe even drop a few coins in my tip jar to feed my ammo habit. Let's get on with it. Hey everyone, welcome to my three-part series of Range in the Home. The first two parts are going to be all about what I use on my range, and then part three will actually be the range itself. So let's talk about why everyone needs their own laser range. Well, when you consider the time and resources that you need to go ahead and have a trip to the range, right? I mean, first of all, the range fees, that can be $20, $25. Maybe you bring a friend along, right? An accountability friend. And maybe you're looking at something, so you're going to try something out from the rental counter. Ammo, targets, we can easily spend $75 right there with an hour on the range, a friend, a rental, and 2 boxes of ammo for the rental because they won't let you shoot your ammo through the rental. And then you even throw in a couple of targets. Not to mention the 3 to 4 hours of time, right? You have to make sure that you have everything in your range bag, and then you got to go to the range, you got to do the time on the range, you got to maybe pick the buddy up on the way there and drop them off on the way home, and then the time to go ahead and replenish your range bag. That's an easy 3 to 4 hours. If you have a laser range, all you got to do is walk from wherever you are out to your garage or to the special room that you have to do this, and you can do 15 minutes of practice. And 15 minutes of practice plus setup and tear down, hey, that's 20 minutes. And you also have to remember that all of the professional shooters out there, the Jerry Miculecs and all the rest of them, for every live round they fire, they probably pull the trigger and dry fire 40 or 50 times. So that's how they get good. Let's emulate them and get good ourselves. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go over to another table and we're going to go ahead and go through all of the accoutrements, which is a French word for stuff that I use on the, shall we say, the uprange side of the laser range. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, welcome to part one of Range in the Home, where I'm going to talk about all of the uprange accoutrements that I use in my various dry fire trainings. I'm just touching on these. I assure you that there are better reviews of everything that I cover elsewhere, so if you're interested in something, please go and search for it. I use all of these in different combinations, so do what you can in order to achieve your objectives here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this. This is a pink Rhino laser round. If you'll notice, it does not have an extraction ring like a normal 9mm. And by the way, this comes in all standard calibers, including pistol calibers such as 38 Special. Those will have the rim, and you would have to buy 5 or 6, depending upon the capacity of your revolver, to go all the way around. And this is part of the extreme basic setup. There are 3 different kits that I know of that carry these. You can buy these also on your own. They run about $40 for just this. But one of your caliber comes with each of these kits. Now, the first 2 are virtually identical, and that is the iTarget Pro and the Strikeman. And what that has is a target and what they call a sled that also has a clamp for your phone, and the phone is automatically aimed at the target, and you set it, and you get to basically do draw and single shot accuracy. Both of these run about $100. And if that's all you have, this is a good start. I started out with, a few years ago, with an iTarget Pro, and it's very limited, but it will get you started. The third one is the Mantis Laser Academy, and that one runs for $150. And let me assure you, that extra money is well worth it, because you get an entire kit. You get a couple of stands for your phone. You get shades for your phone. You get stands for your targets. You get multiple targets. And I will be explaining the Laser Academy later on in part 2. The function of this is very, very simple. You take a firearm. Here is a P07 that is unloaded, and all we have to do is drop the round into the chamber like that, let it go down, and then every time we pull the trigger, we will get the little laser light that is picked up by the app that you are using to score. It's very simple. It's very basic. Again, the reason why I'm using the P07 here is because it is a DASA, so I get to keep going. If I were to use my Glock or SIG, which are striker-fired weapons, well, then I actually have to manually manipulate the slide for each shot. And the way to get this out is also very simple. Lock the slide to the rear. Take a dowel of appropriate size or just an unsharpened pencil. You don't want to use anything metal because it will score the inside of your barrel, but you just stick it in and push it out, and there you go. So again, this is a very basic tool, but if you're just starting out, it's good. I still do use it when I am practicing with my P07 because I do get to use it in repeatable shots. The next basic tool I wanted to cover is carried by Coolfire Trainer and Mantis Laser Academy, and this is called a TRT, or tap rack tool. Doesn't look like a lot, and it's really not. It comes in medium and large sizes for 9mm and such, and then bigger calibers. So this is actually fairly straightforward. You load it in like you would a round. You can put live or dummy rounds underneath it to add some heft or weight to the magazine, but its job is to depress the follower so the slide does not lock open like it would if you have an empty magazine. So the function is just put it in, and then you can manipulate the slide all day long, and it will never, ever, ever go into slide lock. Again, you can get these from both Coolfire and Mantis. They run 3 for $10, so get a bunch because you'll probably have multiple magazines for training, and that's the best way. You just load them up and you leave them like that. The next thing I wanted to talk about, since I have my Glock out, is this. This is a dry fire mag, and what you have here is this will not let the trigger reset. It's basically just a spring, and you can adjust the tension of the spring by a screw and replacement of the spring, so you can set it to whatever trigger function you want. So operation of this is fairly simple. All we got to do is put this all the way in, and when I go to pull the trigger, I'm going to have to pull against this and the normal striker mechanism. So my normal trigger poundage is 6.5, so I'm actually going to have to pull about 13 on this one. But once I get it done, I get to come back and continue to pull the trigger. Now, this does not have a laser to it. You cannot use the Pink Rhino laser with it because the Pink Rhino requires the actual action of the striker. So all this is for is trigger manipulation. This magazine runs about $100. You can get an upgrade or a different, well, actually you have to get a different model that has a laser option. However, this is not as good as the next product I'm going to show you that I use, because you can't do magazine changes. So, and I'm kind of giving myself away, but I'm going to be talking about a CERT. So let's get on to talking about the CERT. Okay, so this is called a CERT, or shot indicating resetting trigger. It is manufactured by Next Level Training. It's a very basic, well, it's actually, no, it's not a basic. It's actually a very good and advanced tool. You can get both a Glock 17 type model, a Glock 19 model, and a few other models. These run anywhere from about $240, $250 to a little over $500, depending upon the bells and whistles you want to have with it. Now, there's really only 3 parts that move on this, and that is the trigger, the magazine release, and this little switch right here. So this switch, I don't use it very often because all it does is when I take up the slack on the trigger, I get one laser. When I actually pull the trigger to get a scoring shot, I get a second laser. This switch is only actually good for your testing or your training on pulling up the slack on the trigger. So this is better than the dryfire mag if you want to do the magazine and laser option, because you can do magazine changes. This is a weighted magazine, so it does feel like it's a full magazine. It does drop free, and so you can shoot and magazine change. This is my primary tool. For most of my trainings, this is what I use, simply because it's straightforward. One note though, I can actually shoot this faster than my Mantis Laser Academy can keep up with. So I can like pull the trigger 10 times and it'll only score maybe 6 or 7 shots. So you do have to slow down, but you're still running faster because you're not having to deal with recoil. But for most of my training, this is what I use. This is the most used tool right up there with the CERT that I use, and this is a Cool Fire trainer. This comes in bronze, silver, and gold packages, which range from about $400 to $1,000. Lots of different options. You can also, and what this is this is a neat little kit. And what it basically has is a couple of TRTs. And this right here, this is the heart of the system. You also have a reduced strength spring. Don't try to use your normal recoil spring when you're using the Cool Fire. And you unscrew this. This is your laser. You plug one of 3 different types of CO2 cartridges into there, and this will fill with about 4 grams of CO2. What happens is when you pull the trigger and the striker hits the Cool Fire, it depresses that little bit in the center, which then activates this piston, which actually cycles the weapon. It's not a full strength 9mm shot, but you know what? It's enough to trigger that that reflex in your mind that causes you to miss low and left. All it takes is a couple of seconds for you to field strip and reassemble the weapon, replacing the barrel and the recoil spring, and you are ready to go. Now, I've already mentioned that there are 3 different options of CO2 fills. They are a disposable 90-gram cartridge. There is also a 14-ounce drink mate. If you've never heard of that, it's the neat little device that allows you to carbonize your own sodas at home. And then if you have paintball in your area, there is also a 1-pound paintball option. And you have to specify, this is a drink mate. You have to specify because this part right here is going to be different for each type of bottle that you're going to have. The 90-gram, the drink mate, or the 1-pound paintball. This end is the same. And all you got to do is turn that like that to activate. And I can't do it with the camera in this setup, but what you do is you press this in here with the bottle inverted so you get liquid CO2 into the chamber of the cool fire, and then you put your laser on, and when you pull the trigger, you get shots. Now, I am planning a lot deeper dive into the cool fire because there are several, shall we say, points of interest that you need to be aware of. But generally, a 4-gram load of CO2 will get you anywhere from 15 to 20 shots out of it before it starts doing this kind of number, where it doesn't have enough oomph to actually cycle it. And so there are ways to get a couple of more shots in. If you have an open-ended holster, you can actually get a different option of this that screws on a little bigger one that gives you, first of all, you don't have to take the laser off to fill it. You would fill down here. And the second point is it would give you a little bit more CO2 capacity. Now, the way this works is if you watch the muzzle right there, when I pull the trigger, you didn't see it much, but that little spike there in the center, that's what moves forward and into the hole of the laser and actually causes the laser to fire. In my normal dry fire training, I pick a drill and I run it several times as a practice with my cert, and then when it comes time to actually run the drill, I will run it a couple of times with the cool fire, and then I will put it down and I will come back later and I will shoot it again cold and take that for the score. So there we go. We have laser fire, we have simulated live fire, and it doesn't get too much better than this. Thank you for watching the entire video. If what I discussed here was valuable to you, I ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and maybe drop a few coins in my tip jar to keep me in ammo. Thank you.